if you are curious or a little nosy Nelly and you're wanting to know what to do after a big promotional event. So let's say you have promoted a group program or a new product or even a membership or a service, or you have relaunched and re-promoted something that you normally like to promote every year within your business. Let's say it's the week after. Then what? What do you do then? So instead of hitting the road and promoting something else really hard, I want you to slow down and stop and ask yourself these 7 questions before you go into your next promotional event. Before we begin, hi, my name is Dolly DeLong. I am a systems and workflow educator for other small business owners who actually want to learn more about systems, workflows, and SOPs and how to apply it to the back end of their business so that they actually grow in their business and make big moves. So I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Now, I know I talk a lot about launching on my own podcast, the Systems and Workflow Magic Podcast, which you should totally subscribe to. But we talk about a lot about launching on that podcast, but I wanted to make this video specifically for the business owner who may feel stuck and not know what type of questions to ask themselves after a big promotional or launch period. And so I want to walk you through real time what are these 7 questions so that you can see I'm navigating my own post-launch analysis. Now, before we begin, I do want to say this video is brought to you and sponsored by the Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, the launch edition. Yes, the launch edition. So it is still live until June the 1st of 2024. So if you are watching this before then, please check it out, especially if you are wanting to learn how to better impact your future launches for 2024, regardless if you are wanting to impact your pre-launch phase or even your launch phase or your post-launch phase, which we're going to get a little bit in the post-launch phase. So check it out. The link is in the description of this video. So let's dive into those 7 questions that I highly recommend you ask yourself or walk yourself through as a post-launch analysis after your big promotional phase. I have to give credit where credit is due. I got these post-launch analysis questions from the amazing Taylor Cusick Holman. She was a part of the Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, the launch edition, and this is actually a little resource. I shouldn't say little. This was a big resource that she gave as a part of the bundle, and these are the 7 questions that I got from this resource. So these are not my original questions that I asked myself that I came up with. I had help from an actual marketing expert. So please go check out this Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, the launch edition, because this resource is a gold mine. And so I want to share and showcase just several of the, well, all 7 of these questions and that she helped lead me through that will help impact my next launch. Now, here are the actual numbers that I normally dig into whenever I do a post-launch analysis. Going back to these numbers. So the biggest numbers that I want to share with you from this bundle. Now, keep in mind, this launch promotional period is still happening for me as I am creating this video live. But I'm just sharing the first week of the launch, what my post-launch analysis looked like. So I wanted to be super clear with you. Here are the numbers that I tend to focus on during a post-launch analysis. Now keep in mind, this is my 6th big launch that I've done as a business owner. And so I'm sure I'm gonna add more numbers and KPIs and metrics to my post-launch analysis in the future, but this is where I am right now, okay? Full transparency. So the numbers that I tend to focus on are as follows. I want to know how much my email list grew. So I'm looking at the specific segments that grew within my email list. I'm looking at how much revenue actually came in during the week of the launch, the promotional period. I am looking at my cart conversion rate. So from sales page to the cart checkout page, what did the actual conversion rate look like? And then finally, I am looking at how many people actually visited the landing page of like where I'm advertising the sale, or in this case, it was the Systems and Workflow Magic bundle. And in full transparency, I am still in the middle of promoting this bundle. So this is just a sliver of an example of a post-launch analysis. So if this was truly like I was all done analyzing all the numbers, then I would be able to give you like an exact number for the entire launch. But I wanted to be transparent and let you know I am giving you like after 1 week of the launch, because the full launch was from February 5th all the way to February 9th of 2024. And then the price went up starting February 10th until June the 1st. And so I am giving you the first launch week data points. This first launch week data points, some kind of like KPIs, key performance indicators, or post-launch analysis numbers I'm looking at again are revenue made in the first week. I'm looking at how much my email list grew based on buyers. I'm also looking at how many people visited or landed on the sales page or the landing page. So I'm looking and digging into Google Analytics for that. And then I am also seeing what the conversion rates were from people who landed on the landing page and then actually took action and purchased. So that's where that sales page conversion rate comes in. So to break it down a little further for you, I had a total of 77 people during week 1 of the initial launch who purchased the launch bundle. The total income for that week was $7,143. Digging into Google Analytics, which is really important, by the way, to put your tracking on all the important pages you want to collect data on, PSA, I had 1455 visitors for that full week. So 1,455 visitors. And reminder, the total sales was 77. So what I did was I took 77 divided by the total amount of website visitors, and that gave me the conversion rate. So the conversion rate of that is specifically, I'm looking at my calculator, 5.29%, which I think industry standard, and me being a very small fish, I'm going to be very proud of myself for. Those are the numbers I usually dig into for a post-launch analysis. Okay, question number 2 that I look at is, did I hit my goals? Full transparency, the first week, no, I did not hit my goals. Now, keep in mind, I'm in competition with my past self. So I am looking at my own numbers based on my previous launches that are similar to this launch that happened last year. So I was in competition with past Dolly. I wasn't in competition with whatever elusive number I threw out at myself. I actually was in competition with myself. And so this year, I did not, like my past year beat like this year's version, if that makes sense. So I purchased a very specific calculator from your social team. It's called the 8-Day Campaign, and I purchased it mainly for the calculator, okay, full transparency, but I love this because they give a really good outline of just like what to expect conservatively, like 1% conversion rate, 2% conversion rate, 3% conversion rate, and so on and so forth. And so they want to give you a really realistic viewpoint of just what to expect, and not just to say, oh, I'm going to make $1 million with 50 email list subscribers. No. So it was a really good gauge for me going into, during my pre-launch plan phase, I had all of this data already collected because I knew this was a bundle. This was a launch that was a collaboration. So it was a collaborative effort from other contributors as well. So what I did was I took our combined email lists, everybody's engaged email list size, and their engaged Instagram numbers, and I based it off of this calculator, and it was a very, very, very conservative number. I didn't want to shoot for the moon, not because I'm overly negative. It's because I really want to be realistic and set real expectations for everyone involved, including myself. So, my good, better, and best goals were 300, 300 sales based off of a 1% conversion rate. Better goal was specifically 390, and it was a certain percentage above 300. And then the best goal was 600. And this was like I think it was like a 5% conversion rate. But again, I tend to err on a very conservative expectation. So I was leaning more towards the 1% conversion rate. Now, did I hit that during week one? No. And I might hit that after the long promotional period is said and done. And I might look back on this and say, Dolly, you hit it. You should celebrate. But during that first week, that's normally like in the past, that's when I would have hit the goal. I've hit that goal before. And so my expectation for myself, again, based on past data, past numbers, I was like, okay, it's 1%. That's a really realistic goal that I can meet, that the contributors can meet. We're going to do this. But it didn't happen. And it's okay. We all survived. I am really proud of is this, and I'll dig more into it in a couple of questions, but I'm really proud of the fact that we were still able to hit 5% of a conversion rate for our sales page. And that's great. That's industry standard right there. And I am proud of that, being a very, very small business owner, being a very, very small fish in this big, vast internet pond. Question 3, what would I continue to do that I enjoyed? I love this question. Let's just start on a positive note. I'm definitely gonna repeat the launch strategy of collaborating with other business owners. I love cross promotional periods. I love being on other people's podcasts, being on other people's social media platforms, and talking about my upcoming launch and letting their audience know what's coming. Of course, I have to make sure that their audience is in alignment with what I am promoting, what I am launching. And so, but I've had really good experiences with that, and I've built really good relationships with other contributors, collaborations based on like all of my launches. So I am going to continue to do that. Another thing that I'm definitely going to repeat over and over and over again every single launch is using templates and digging into the systems that are already working for me. And in this scenario, it's templates. So I have templatized a lot of different things for past launches that I tweak for every single launch that I do. What I'm definitely going to repeat over and over and over again is a launch runway. I am going to toot my own horn. Toot, toot. I am really good at a good promotional launch period. I love a good launch runway. I'm really good at casting a vision 3-4 months down the road to plan out a launch period and to be very strategic about it. I mean, people hire me to help them on the back end of their own business, and I help them execute really good launches. And so I really believe I'm really good at doing this for myself. And so I'm going to continue to repeat that. I am extremely proud of the fact that I utilized all of my platforms really well. I dug into my email marketing platform, and I was very engaged with my list. I dug into my social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook. That's where I get the most engagement from. And so I was engaged during my promotional periods, and I'm already engaged during non-promotional periods as well. And I'm really engaged on my other platforms like YouTube, this channel, and also my Systems and Workflow Magic podcast. So I was able to utilize all of those different platforms for my pre-launch runway. Now, I know I'm definitely going to repeat a private podcast again, but it is going to look a little different next time. What I'm also going to repeat is still using the Kajabi teaching platform. Now, halfway through my pre-launch phase, I had to switch over teaching platforms because the old teaching platform I was using was constantly deleting sales pages. They were double charging clients and customers. It was a hot mess express, not just for me, but for clients across the board, other users of this teaching platform. And so I saw that as a red flag, and I quickly jumped ship before my actual launch period began. And I purchased, and now I use Kajabi. And I am so happy I did that. I know it was a little pricier, but it was totally worth it. The customer experience was good for me, and the client experience is great for my purchasers because it just made their learning experience even more seamless. And so that made me feel better about that. So I'm definitely repeating using Kajabi. I am definitely going to be repeating utilizing and digging into a bump offer. So I tested out a bump offer this launch. I've never done a bump offer before. I was really nervous about it, but my bump offer converted at 22%, which I'm really excited about, and I'm definitely going to be utilizing a bump offer my next launch period. Let's talk about what I would do a little differently in my next launch, because again, remember, I want to learn from this past launch, and so what changes am I going to make when I launch something very similar to this product? So the first thing that comes to mind is just having two different sales pages. I might have both a long form sales page and a short form sales page just to test it out. So I'll do some A/B testing. Another thing I would do differently, I would keep the same thing of having a private podcast. I love having a private podcast before a lot of my launches. I'm not really big into master classes and webinars, and maybe I will add a webinar the next time I launch, but I love doing private audio trainings. But I would probably include any contributors or any other guest spots to be on this private podcast so that I could do some cross promotions with their audiences. So that way it's not just me doing solo episodes, it's me having guests on these private podcasts, and then maybe their audience will listen in to the private podcast. Okay, so I'm laughing because I was looking at my notes right before talking about this in this video, but I think I might add a webinar next time I do a launch that's similar to this product. So maybe people need to watch a masterclass of me talking about this certain topic. Maybe they need a webinar. I am of the notion that people love listening. That's the way I like to learn. I love learning on the go. That's why I have a podcast. But now that I have dipped my toes more into YouTube video creation, I know a lot of students have met me through my YouTube channel, and so maybe I should create a webinar. Who knows? That is something that I will definitely be doing next time. Okay, finally, another thing I will change about my next launch that again is very similar to launching a bundle is having a free tier and also having a paid tier of a bundle. So the reason why I say that is because I really want all the contributors to benefit from being involved in a collaborative bundle, in a launch bundle, because I want them to grow their email list. So of course, I want to have a free tier. It would be very beneficial for everyone, and also a paid tier. And I think that's what I'm definitely going to change next time. So question number 5, what are you not going to do again? This kind of goes along with question number 4, but question number 5 is kind of more personal. What am I not going to ever do again during a launch period? Is this constantly be checking my phone for either sales or updates, or checking my Google Analytics tracking, or checking the sales page, checking everything, and being stressed out during the launch week. Because again, even though I was competing against myself from last year's data and I wasn't competing against some elusive number I had created, I I still was very stressed out. I was constantly nagging. I had this internal battle of, well, you're not as good as you were last year, Dolly, and I did not like that inner dialogue. So I will not be checking my phone as often as I did like this past launch. I will probably have a designated time set aside to check the data points for like in the morning and in the evening and keep a very hard boundary for myself. Let's talk about question number 6. What was in my control? So what was in my control was my attitude. Another thing I was in control of was the way I showed up. Another thing I was in control of, it was how I showed up with being prepared. I am very prepared. I came to this launch period very prepared. I had a really good pre-launch runway. I had templates. Again, I had the swipe files ready. I had everything ready and I showed up. And so I'm really proud of myself for all of those 3 things. Let's talk about question number 7. What was out of my control? So there was a lot of things going against me. That sounds like a victim mentality. I definitely was not a victim. Please hear me say that. But there was a lot of things going against this launch. For one, that verification with email, like Gmail, Google, whatever you want to call it, that was happening in the middle of the launch. So I know the deliverability rates for myself and many other contributors was down because of the verification process. That was something that was completely out of my control. I think another thing that was out of my control was just like what is happening in the economy right now. Of course, I always believe that there is going to be a roller coaster of emotions with like fear of buying and not knowing what's going to happen in the economy. Heck, I even graduated from college when the economy was at its worst. So in 2007, 2008, that's when I graduated from college. And if you want to look back, that's when the economy bubble burst, whatever you want to call it, and I still survived and the economy still survived. So I think something like that is happening and brewing right now. So a lot of people were a little fearful of purchasing. Another thing that I think was out of my control was this. There is an abundance of launching happening right now, which is so cool, I think. But again, a lot of people are under launch fatigue, bundle fatigue, so they may not know who to trust, who to buy from. It's the beginning of the year. They might be reassessing, tightening their budgets a little bit more. So who knows? So there were a lot of uncontrollable factors going in, but again, this could happen any time of the year. What was out of my control was enough people not seeing the messaging. So I definitely did not utilize ads, and I love organic marketing. So I think something that I could have done better was get more eyes to the sales page because I had a really good conversion rate. 5% is an amazing conversion rate. And so I really believe if we had more eyes, we would have had higher sales. But again, this is still going on live until June the 1st. So I will know the overall picture the once the launch is said and done, but I'm just talking about 1 week of the launch. So okay, those are the 7 questions I like to ask myself, and I just want to thank Taylor from NG who provided these 7 questions for me, and also was a part and is a part of the Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, the launch edition. So if you are interested in purchasing the Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, the launch edition, because you want to get better at your pre-launch phase, launch phase, post-launch phase, and you just overall want to hone in on creating better systems and workflows for launching as a solo business owner, please check it out. And you'll get Taylor's amazing post-launch analysis resource along with $3,700 worth of launching products for 94% off. So it is an amazing deal. I dig into it all the time, which I just dug into it with you in this video. So please check it out. Now, if you liked this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe to this channel. I have new systems and workflow related videos every Friday, and I love breaking down different puzzle pieces of systems and workflows and SOPs so that you can better run the back end of your business. Until then, have an amazing and streamlined week. You amazing muggle you. I will talk to you all next week. Bye.